Your dog does some seriously weird stuff, and there's a reason for every single bit of it. Like, why does your dog hump things at the most embarrassing moments possible? You think it's a sex thing, but it's actually not what you think at all. And why does your dog freak out when you hug someone else? You'd think they're just jealous, but the real reason is way more interesting than that. In this video, I'll show you the real truth behind some of your dog's weirdest behaviors. Now let's start with something that looks way too familiar. Your dog getting hiccups. Your dog gets hiccups for almost the exact same reason you do. The diaphragm, that big muscle under their lungs, gets irritated and spasms. A 2020 review in Frontiers in Veterinary Science found that fast eating is one of the most common triggers of hiccups in dogs, with puppies being far more prone to it than adult dogs. When your dog gulps down food or water too quickly, they swallow air along with it, and that air sets the diaphragm off. Puppies get hiccups more often because their nervous systems are still developing, and their diaphragm is way more sensitive. Excitement and play can trigger them too, so that post-Zoomies hiccup session is completely normal. They usually clear up on their own in a few minutes. No need to scare your dog or have them drink from a weird angle. The best thing you can actually do is slow down their eating with a puzzle feeder or a slow feed bowl. Another behavior you've probably noticed but never really questioned is the dramatic sigh your dog lets out right after they plop down next to you. Dogs use sighing as a direct emotional release, kind of like how you exhale slowly after a long day. Research published in Applied Animal Behavior Science shows that dogs produce low-frequency vocalizations like sighs most often during periods of relaxed social bonding, meaning they do it most when they feel safe and close to you. If your dog sighs right after settling next to you, that's actually a really good sign. It means they feel content and comfortable, not bored or annoyed like most people assume. But there's a second type of sigh, the heavier, more drawn-out one that happens when your dog wanted something and didn't get it. Think of it as their version of a passive-aggressive, fine, whatever. So the next time your dog sighs after you say no to a walk, yeah, they're definitely making a point. Then there's the one that gets every owner red in the face. Why your dog humps things at the worst possible moments. Here's the thing most people get wrong. Humping is not always about sex. A study in Applied Animal Behavior Science found that even spayed and neutered dogs hump regularly, which immediately rules out hormones as the only explanation. Humping is actually one of the ways dogs release stress and pent-up excitement. When your dog gets overstimulated, like during a party or a rowdy play session, humping can kick in as a way to cope with all that energy. It can also be a social behavior, a way of testing boundaries with other dogs or even people. Redirecting your dog with a command or a toy the moment you see it starting is genuinely one of the most effective ways to manage it. So no, your dog is not trying to embarrass you in front of your guests. They're just really bad at handling big feelings. Another popular thing dogs do that quietly drives owners crazy is chatter their teeth. You've probably seen it. That rapid, almost mechanical jaw movement that looks like your dog just walked out of a freezer. Cold temperatures can cause it. Sure, but that's actually one of the less interesting reasons. Dogs also chatter their teeth when they pick up a particularly intense scent, especially during mating season, because it helps push scent particles toward a special sensory organ on the roof of their mouth called the vomeronasal organ. Anxiety and excitement can trigger it too, so chattering right before a vet visit or a car ride is your dog's nervous system doing its thing. Some dogs even chatter after licking something with a strong or unusual taste, almost like a reset button for their senses. It looks bizarre, but in most cases, it's completely harmless. If you notice it happening constantly, with no clear trigger though, it's worth a quick check with your vet, since dental pain can cause it too. And then there's something you've definitely caught your dog doing at least once: licking their paws like it's a full-time job. A little paw licking is totally normal grooming behavior. But when it becomes constant, that's your dog telling you something is off. Research from BMC Veterinary Research found that excessive paw licking in dogs is strongly linked to environmental allergies, with grass and dust mites being among the most common culprits. When your dog's paws pick up allergens from the ground, licking is their way of trying to soothe the irritation. You might also notice redness, brown staining between the toes, or a yeasty smell, all signs that the licking has been going on for a while. Boredom and anxiety can drive it too, so if your dog only does it in the evenings when things get quiet, that's a behavioral clue worth paying attention to. Wiping your dog's paws after outdoor walks can actually make a real difference if allergies are the trigger. Bottom line, the occasional lick is fine, but if your dog is going at it obsessively, it's worth figuring out why. Now here's one that might make you question everything you thought you knew about your dog: eating dirt. It sounds gross, and honestly, it kind of is. But dogs don't just do it randomly. A study published in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior found that pica, the term for eating non-food items like dirt, is often linked to nutritional deficiencies, particularly a lack of minerals like iron and calcium in a dog's diet. So if your dog is regularly munching on your backyard, their body might genuinely be trying to fill a gap. Certain types of soil also contain beneficial microbes that dogs may instinctively seek out when their gut health is off. Boredom and stress can push them toward it too, especially in dogs that don't get enough mental stimulation during the day. If it's occasional, it's usually not a crisis. But if your dog is eating dirt consistently, that's a sign worth bringing up with your vet, because some soils contain pesticides, parasites, or toxins that can do real damage. Another thing dogs do that looks completely pointless, but is actually deeply wired into them, is chasing their own tail. Puppies do it mostly because they haven't fully figured out that the tail is attached to them yet, which is honestly adorable and a little funny. But in adult dogs, tail chasing usually comes down to one of three things: boredom, compulsive behavior, or a physical irritation near the tail or rear end. Some breeds, like bull terriers, are genetically more prone to compulsive tail chasing than others, so it's not always just a quirk. A quick spin here and there is no big deal. But if your dog is doing it for long stretches, seems distressed while doing it, or can't stop even when you try to redirect them, that's worth paying attention to. Tail chasing that becomes obsessive can actually be a sign of canine compulsive disorder, which is a real condition that responds well to behavioral therapy. So yeah, cute in small doses, but worth watching closely. Then there's the bedtime ritual that makes zero sense until you understand where it comes from: your dog scratching and circling their bed before lying down. This one goes way back. Before dogs were domesticated, their wild ancestors would pat down grass, leaves, and dirt to create a flat, comfortable sleeping spot. Your dog is basically doing the exact same thing on a memory foam bed that cost more than your pillow. Scratching also helps dogs mark their sleeping area with scent, since they have scent glands in their paws. Researchers found that dogs have a strong instinct to create a defined personal space before resting, which is directly linked to their need for security and comfort. It can also be a temperature regulation move, loosening up the material to make it feel cooler or cozier, depending on the season. The behavior is completely normal and harmless. Think of it less as your dog being weird, and more as them just setting up their sleep environment the only way they know how. Another behavior worth talking about is one that might surprise you. Why your dog sleeps on their back with all four legs in the air. It looks ridiculous, and your dog clearly has no shame about it. But it actually tells you a lot. Sleeping on their back fully exposes a dog's belly, which is one of the most vulnerable parts of their body. When your dog does this, it means they feel completely safe in their environment. It's also a temperature regulation trick. The belly has less fur than the rest of the body, so exposing it to the air helps your dog cool down faster. Dogs that sleep in tight, curled-up positions are actually conserving heat and sometimes signaling mild stress or insecurity. So, if your dog has gone from curling up to full-on belly-up sprawling, that's a sign they've gotten way more comfortable and relaxed in your home. It's basically your dog's version of kicking back in a recliner. Take it as a compliment. And finally, the one that was promised right at the start. Why your dog completely loses it when you hug someone else. You probably wrote it off as jealousy. But what's actually happening is much more instinctive than that. Dogs are hardwired to read body language, and a hug looks nothing like friendly behavior in dog language. In the dog world, putting your limbs over another animal is a dominant signal, not affection. So when your dog sees you wrapping your arms around someone, their brain reads it as a potential threat or a challenge happening right in front of them. A study from Learning and Behavior found that dogs show measurable stress responses when their owners show affection toward other people or animals, with cortisol levels rising noticeably during these interactions. Your dog isn't trying to be dramatic. They're genuinely trying to figure out if you need help or if something is wrong. The wedging, the pawing, the whining, it's all your dog saying, "I don't know what's happening here, but I'm involved now." Understanding this completely changes how you read your dog's reaction. And honestly, it makes them even harder not to love. Now you finally know what your dog has been trying to tell you this whole time. But understanding your dog is only half the battle. The other half is making sure you're not accidentally hurting them. Head over to our next video and see the 12 habits that emotionally damage dogs without owners even realizing it. Miss that video, and you might keep doing the one thing your dog wishes you would stop.